Well, after taking Monday off and giving the players some rest, the Nebraska football team got back to work here on Tuesday as they began preparations for Bethune-Cookman, who comes in Saturday for an 11 a.m. game in Memorial Stadium. And the big storyline as the Huskers took the field today, where there were some new black shirts handed out. Defensive backs Trey Neal and Lamar Jackson, along with defensive linemen Carlos and Khalil Davis, were added to the list of players on this team that already have black shirts.
A couple guys, starters. We want to get all the starters waiting for an opportune time. Obviously, not a good time when you lose a football game, but the guys are learning how to practice, learning what we want out of the defense. This game, not doing their own stuff. Everybody's kind of playing within the defense, so it was a good time to get the starters in the black shirts. The starting guys that didn't have them so far was Trey Neal, Lamar, and the Davis brothers. The Davis brothers, even though one of them may or may not be a starter, they're playing just as many reps as everybody on defense and probably been the most productive. So
it made me happy for those guys to see them out there. They got their black shirts. It's something that they've been working towards, since they stepped foot in here. And, they got their black shirt. It wasn't just given, it was earned to them. Those guys had to earn it. And, to see that, I already had mine, but to see that, it put an extra fire in me. I'm happy for those guys, and hopefully it put an extra fire in them too, to keep going. And rent is doing your black shirt every day, and you just got to come day after day and earn it.
Yes, sir. We got them today. It was very unexpected, but with the way that we've been working, it's well deserved. That's all I can say. We earned them. It's an honor to get it back. Like a coach told me before, you earn the black shirt way before you get it. So now, once you get it, you just keep doing the same things you've been doing, but just give that little edge. Just work a little harder to keep it.
As a coach here at Nebraska, you want to have a lot of pride in it. I mean, I want my guys to earn it. I want them to want it. And I want it to mean something to them. So it's a fine line. You want everybody to be included in doing it, but you also have to be smart and handle it the right way. And these guys, the Twins, I was real happy for those guys. They've been grinding pretty hard. They've been playing pretty well, and we haven't had a lot of reasons to get too excited. And that was those guys. I'm happy for them.
And for Jackson, it's been a long climb to get back to receiving his black shirt here in practice, as he was benched during Nebraska's game with Purdue, but he's persevered and found his way back to where he wants to be.
This is life. What I went through, I just feel like that's kind of one of the things that the coaches talked about. Like, everything ain't gonna be sweet, and the grass ain't always gonna be green on the other side. They kind of told me off rip, like on something like we hold you to a different standards. We want you to be a pro. We expect you to act like a pro. And and then at the end of the day, once we seen eye to eye, and I realized the coaches, it wasn't out of spite. It was more for me and my future and to benefit me. I had no problem with going out there and working and improving to getting my spot back in, as well as the black shirt.
He's doing the things off the field we want him to do, embracing the culture that Coach Frost is creating, embracing his job in the defense and some of the technique. One thing we've been focused on him with is he's been in phase a lot of the football games. We've seen a lot of penalties because he's not looking at the ball, not using proper technique. In the past game, he was in phase. He looked for the football. He made plays on the football. So we felt like he's trying to do things the right way. He's improving steadily. We felt like we wanted to get him in one.
It should also be noted that defensive lineman Ben Stilley received a black shirt on Tuesday, but he declined it and said he hasn't earned it yet. So he is one player that should be included in that group, but chose not to accept his black shirt. Other good news on the practice field for the Huskers, defensive tackle Mick Stoltenberg was back on the field.
I'm going to let Mark in the training room do, and the doctors that are way smarter than I am figure that out. They kind of give me hey, this is what to expect percentage-wise, try to mix in the reps for him and try to bring him along. And, one of the challenges for him that he's got to do is get himself back in football shape. It's been about 4 weeks or so, and you can't simulate the running combined with the physical hitting. That takes a different toll on your body. So I think to get that win back a little bit, he'll have to start increasing the reps, because what you don't want to do is not be ready to go, and then you jump out there and you go too much or too long and try to push it too far and have another setback. So we're going to be smart with him, but he's awesome. He's such a hard-working guy.
Another player that gave the Huskers a big lift this past Saturday was defensive back JoJo Doman, who's been working more as a hybrid nickel/safety.
Yeah, he's working a lot with me right now, doing a good job. Obviously, there's, his skill set lends itself to be a lot of cover stuff. And so when we use them in some coverage, it can keep a lot of our defense consistent when we have different personnel groupings out there. Rather than trying to change things schematically, you can change things with some personnel. So sometimes you can put them in there to be in the coverage, or especially over a slot or somebody like that, when there's matchup issues for a normal outside linebacker. And then he's stout enough. He's about 222 pounds, so he's strong enough. If he's got to get in, he's got to get nasty and get at the point, that he's got the ability to do that. And he's strong enough, and he's got to get a little of that DB out of him yet, in terms of we're going down in the box, but it's coming along.
Several Husker coaches also gave some early thoughts on what to expect from Bethune-Cookman.
Yeah, so they're going to present some of the same challenges as our own offense does. You know, they're going to spread the field. They get in 11 personnel, 12 personnel, 10 personnel. They run the RPO games. I think their quarterback does a nice job. He can throw the football, and he's pretty slippery when he wants to run it. They've scored points on everybody. You know, they're I don't know what they're averaging, but I looked through the scores, and it's 25, 30 on just about everybody. So I think this is a good football team we're playing. It's going to be a good game for everybody to watch, and we got to be assignment sound.
They do some really good stuff schematically. They've got some really good athletes that they try to put their guys out in space. So we're going to have to be really sound in our space tackling, being out in space and tackling those guys out in the middle of the field, or they're putting the ball out in the bubble screen and things like that. They've got some really athletic quarterbacks. They're going to test our ability to be consistent in terms of our pass rush lanes. They've got 2 quarterbacks or 3 quarterbacks that I've seen on film so far that really move around in the pocket really well, and they can throw it on the run. So they're going to do a good job with that. So we've got to do a good job of making sure we keep the quarterback in the pocket.
We'll still go in and we're going to attack this game. I mean, this is a really big offensive line. They're going to be big. They run the zone plays, and they do a little bit of insertion and things like that. So they're going to be big bodies leaning on the guys. And my message to the guys this morning, I want to be able to play. If you want to be able to play more and more snaps, you got to show me. There's times. I want this team to be the hardest playing defensive line in the conference and in the country, and the guys flying around. And I think that we got to be able to keep the rotation going to be able to do that if you want to play at the level that I envision these guys playing at.
A few of the Husker coaches also spent some time on the road this week recruiting, including outside linebackers coach Javon DeWitt, who spent some time down in Florida. With the Huskers here in Lincoln, I'm Sean Callahan of HuskerOnline.com.